So today I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about accounting. I know that it's like not the most exciting subject ever, but it is really important because this is how you get your money back from Walmart when they take deductions, especially deductions that really are not fair deductions. Like, for example, taking deductions on that you didn't ship them the item when you did ship them the item. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to talk about how to go about getting your deductions, filing your claims for your deductions, getting paid back, what deductions you may not be able to file, as well as what happens when you get post audited, and really important to pay attention to those. So like she said, I'm Deedee Washburn. I have been working in the supplier community for about 20 years. Worked for Procter & Gamble, Johnson & Johnson, Disney, and Colgate. So first, we're going to talk a little bit about the deductions. We have some slides somewhere. Oh, excellent. Okay. So talk a little bit about where you find some of the things. There's a whole section of deduction codes. I've put them on here if they send out the presentation, depending on what we decide. There's some deductions here, and each of these deductions are the different claim numbers that Walmart assigns to the deductions they give you. Sometimes there's some like really crazy deductions and you're like, what is a 22? What's a 25? Why did they take an 87? And there's really no explanation for it. That does become a little bit of a problem because then you don't know why they took it, if they can pay it back, if it was a legitimate claim, and what certain things that you should be watching out for to not get those deductions. One thing that's really, really important, how many of you guys here are suppliers, already suppliers? Okay, are you guys have people that are doing your deductions and looking at the accounting pieces of your business? Kind of, no? Yes. So what the most important thing you need to know about deductions is understanding your vendor agreement. When you guys sign that vendor agreement, there's like a bazillion things in there. There is probably about 20 or some pages. If you guys suffer from insomnia, take it to bed, read it, you'll be asleep in 2 minutes. But there are some really important parts of that that shows you what your terms are, what deductions they're going to take. Like, for example, they could put a 3% defective merchandise, and they'll charge you every month for 3%. And it's a code that you would see in here. And that's not something that you guys can fight. Also, new store allowances, it's another one. New store allowances, they will say, okay, so every time we open a new store and we put you in that store, we're going to charge you a 1% for those POs that went into that store, a one-time charge. Those are charges that you cannot fight back. So all of these things are in your vendor agreement. I get a lot of suppliers coming to me and going, well, they're saying that our terms are 30 days, are 27, 2% net 30, but they're still not paying us in even 30 days. They take longer. They still take the 2%. Well, when you have that type of an agreement with them, that means that after they have received all the goods, that's when their clock starts ticking. So that's something that is in the vendor agreement that a lot of people don't understand. So I really, really urge you, if you guys are already suppliers, to start understanding the vendor agreement, look through it. So you would go into your online supplier agreement and look at your current agreements. And like I said, there is about 20 pages of it. A lot of it is relevant. Some of it is not as relevant, but there is some really good information that talks about what every single one of your terms are and what deductions they're going to take. Understanding Walmart's POs and accounts payable system as well. So they have a new system. So they used to have a system called, what's the name of it? See, now I haven't used it in a while. So it's an accounting, it's so that you could go find your claims and find different pieces of documentation inside of Walmart. Well, what is that called? Can't remember what it's called. So they have changed, and now they are using only the APIS site for their claims. And it's really actually so much better than it was automated supplier inquiry, invoice inquiry screen. That's what it was. So that one is going away completely. That will no longer be available on the site. So if any of you guys are using that to pull your claims, it's going to go bye-bye. And they're using the APIS, which allows you to actually go back up to 4 years and look at your invoices and anything that they have paid you back 4 years and what deductions they took from everything. It looks at vendor research, paid history, invoices, POs and receiving, claims, and the checks. And then you can get all your check remits there. This is what, I've kind of blacked it out because it's somebody's notification of claim, but sorry. Can't show that to you, but this is what a notification claim would look like. They would tell you why they took the claim, why they took the deduction, how many items were affected in that deduction, the total deduction that they took off your check. Like I said, there's several claims. There's actually several, claims that you can actually fight. 22s, which are my favorite to fight because they pretty much give you your money back immediately. And 22s are called billed not shipped. So billed not shipped means that you say you've shipped it. When they got it to Walmart, when they got the box, it wasn't there. If you have your notification claim, your proof of delivery, and a copy of your invoice, you can send it to them, and I'm going to talk about the dispute portal here in a minute. You can send it back to them, and they will pay you back. There's another one of my favorite claims is Claim 25. They're saying, it's not that we didn't receive it, we just don't have record that we received it. If you send us a POD, we'll pay you back for the entire load. So those are two of my favorite claims because I always get my money back. There are some other ones, don't get your money back. Walmart also has, or Retail Link, within Retail Link, you can also find these new reports that will allow you to pull customized 90-day paid invoices. You can look at anything that's that it isn't reconciled, that isn't paid. You can put it up against your accounting and see if for some reason the invoice didn't get to Walmart and you need to resubmit it. So it's kind of a reference place where you can actually look back and see what's been paid, what hasn't been paid, and why hasn't it been paid. Also, Walmart Skip. Walmart Skip is a really great kind of a frequently asked questions type site where you can actually find, just put in the search engine and it'll answer questions about accounting. I'm just putting a couple of the things that we look at most often when it comes to accounting. You can also contact them through here and find out, get some backup information or get some more clarity on why they took a deduction. A lot of times I see suppliers that call me and say, I have an 87 deduction. We get all these 87 deductions. It says nothing about 87 deductions. What are they? A lot of times those are post audits. Most times they're post audits, but they could be also for OTIF charges. They could be for returns. So they don't really actually specify what 87s are. You can go into the Walmart Skip and ask them what an 87 is, why they put an 87 on that invoice. Send them the relevant information, and they'll answer you back in, 2 to 3 years. No, I'm joking. Probably a couple weeks. So if you guys get this presentation, there's also all kinds of the different things that you can ask them. What is a dispute portal? How do I track my disputes? What is in the Supplier Alliance program? And so on. So there's a ton of questions. Anything that's accounting related, you'd go into Walmart Skip and ask him the questions there. EFT. If any of you guys are suppliers are not getting paid through EFT, shame on you. Make sure that you guys are getting paid via EFT. I had a supplier that was getting paid by checks, and I'm like, why aren't you getting paid by EFT? He's like, well, I think checks are more secure. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then he calls me a week later and he goes, they lost my check. I'm like, hello? Yeah, EFT. So OTIF, Rochelle talked a little bit about OTIF, but OTIF is really important to accounting. It's important for your entire business, but it is important because this is where your deductions come in when you don't meet their compliance. I'm not going to go into it because she did, but I just wanted to mention that OTIF is super important, that you guys have got to keep really good records of it. You've got to make sure that you're monitoring it every single week and downloading all of those reports within the OTIF portal. So is your team doing that for the suppliers in the room, or is your team not doing that? Okay, so if you are a supplier and you guys are not monitoring your OTIF, one of the things about OTIF is that if you don't know what's going on, you can't make it better. You can't improve your score. You can't find out if you're responsible for it or if Walmart's responsible for it. So make sure that all you have to do is go into the OTIF portal. Let's see, do I have it here? Yes, so you click on the OTIF portal and put in the week that you want. I think Rochelle showed all that. And then it'll show you all the information. It'll show you who's responsible for the delay, who's responsible for your on time. You're always responsible for your in full, 100% responsible for your in full. But the on time piece, based on what your minimum score should be, you own that too. So that's really important that you guys are monitoring it, because if not, you're going to start seeing 87s with no explanation. And what is that? Well, you'll have to go find out. Getting paid back for claims. There's this thing, how many of you guys are using the dispute portal? Dispute portal, anybody else, you're using it? Okay. If you're not using the dispute portal, it's really important that you get in there and start using it, because Walmart does not take claims back or disputes back via paper anymore. So there's no way that you can email them, or send them a paper copy with all the information and then they're going to process it. It's going to go to La La Land. You will never see your money back. If you're not using the dispute portal, now you can use it actually for .com. Canada just implemented, is anybody here do business with Canada? Okay, so Canada has also now implemented the dispute portal. You guys can, if it's not in here, I'm more than happy to show you guys how to use it. I have a little video that Amanda's going to put out online to show you how to get a hold of the dispute portal and how to sign up for it. I have a step-by-step that she's going to upload when we do the videos, right? Okay. So dispute portal, what can you put in there? I actually have a link to it as well on that page. On the video, you'll just click on there, and then you will go through the steps. And like I said, I'm going to upload a video, and you can go step by step on how to get into the dispute portal. We can also teach you how to fight those claims, how to submit the claims to the dispute portal and get paid back. Post audits. I know this is kind of fast. I've gone kind of a little bit fast. Post audits. What are post audits? Post audits are that Walmart has 4 companies, 3 outside companies and 1 internal company that can actually come back up to 4 years now and say, hey, we didn't get paid for this, we're going to take a deduction. And they can take up to $100,000 in one deduction. So they can combine deductions up to $100,000, take that deduction, they'll notify you that they're going to take it. But before you can even fight it, they can take $100,000. So post audits, if you guys aren't paying attention to what post audits are, you're going to lose a lot of money and you will not be able to recover it. So like I said, there's 4 post audit companies, 1 internal one and 3 external ones. They're going to ask you for information. Make sure that you contact Walmart and find out if that is one of their post audit companies before you give them any information. Make sure your legal team is aware that you're being post audited and what you're being post audited for before you give them any money or any information. Sometimes these guys are on a fishing expedition and they'll call you or they'll send you an email and say, hey, I need to find invoices from this time to this time with no claims, with no post audit, with no other information. I've had suppliers that have said, okay, I guess they need that, and they'll give it to them, They're on a fishing expedition. They don't get paid unless, you know, they find something. So make sure that your legal team knows what's going on. Make sure that that they're a legitimate post audit company and that it's a true post audit, that they have filed a post audit and they have a reason to do it. There is a ton of stuff that you can find in the post audits. Suppliers have 30 days to respond. If you don't respond within 30 days, it's basically closed and you will lose that money. And like I said, up to $100,000, that's a lot of money. So there are different reasons for post audits: special pricing, funding not received, rebates not received, pricing issues. So have you guys ever gotten deductions that say pricing discrepancy or pricing allowance, or that's when the price that was on the invoice did not match what was on the PO? And sometimes they miss it, so they could come back and do it as a post audit. And then it's really hard to get that money back once they take it. One thing I always tell my suppliers, and this is not really an accounting piece, but kind of part of your process, when you guys get a PO, do not ship it unless you agree with pricing, because pricing issues do not go through the dispute portal. Pricing issues only go to the buyer. And if you're getting post audited and it's 4 years ago and that buyer is no longer there, how are you guys going to recover that money? It's going to be impossible because that buyer's long gone, there's no record of it, and then you lose out on that money. Supplier agreement issues, things that are maybe not in the supplier agreement that they charge you back for, they can come back, like I said, up to 4 years and say, we think that was in the supplier agreement. It's your responsibility to make sure you have copies of every supplier agreement and prove them wrong. So basically, the burden is always on you guys for post audits. The burden's always on you guys for pretty much everything, but post audits for sure. Co-op issues, if you guys have had a co-op and they didn't take that deduction, they can come back and take that deduction. Allowance issues on invoices and supplier agreements that have special instructions. I had a supplier that they had a product that was being discontinued. The product, they went to the buyer and said, hey, will you buy my inventory because we're not going to make this product anymore? And the buyer said, yeah, I want that product and we'll sell through it. Well, a couple years later, they got post audited, and the post audit company came back and said, you didn't price protect us, because the buyer bought it like, 10 cents on the dollar for the rest of the remainder of the inventory. He said, you didn't price protect us for the last 10 years. You have to come back and price protect us. It was millions of dollars. They fought it, and they were able to get their money and not pay the millions of dollars in price protection. But if you guys don't keep good records and don't understand what the post audit is, if they had said, well, that's not right, we're just going to ignore that, then Walmart would have come back to them and taken a lot of money from them. Okay, see, that was short and sweet. Well, short anyway. Do you guys have any questions? Yes. Your buyer has to resolve those. They are all buyer driven. So are you still getting POs? Yes. At the wrong price? Yes. Don't ship. You've got to call your replenishment manager and let them know. Call the RM. The buyers are awesome, but the RMs do so much. Call your RM and tell them that you can't ship because the price is wrong. That's what I would do, because you don't want to continue shipping because they're never going to pay you. If it's what's on the invoice, when you ship your PO, that is a contract between you and Walmart saying, I accept the price that's on here. And so I get a lot of 10s, are the claims 10s? Claim number 10? It's 11s and 10s. Those are the pricing changes. When I submit those with some of my suppliers, I get back a note that says, if you did not agree with the price, why did you ship it? And I'm like, well, because you wanted it, and I was trying to be a good partner, so I shipped it. So I've told my suppliers, don't ship it if you don't agree with the price.
So our pricing is the same on our invoices, have always been the same on our invoices. It's our invoice tells what the price is. It's the home office systems in prices that doesn't match our invoices. Does that make sense?
But the PO, what does the PO say on price?
They never ask for a price on PO. When I talk to my customers and they order, they tell me what they want, they give me a PO number for it. And I ship them out what they want with their invoice and their PO number attached to it. So when they're checking it in under the correct pricing. Then when they send it to GSS or whoever they send it to write us a check, because we are actually check paying still, we're getting all these check deductions in with hundreds, thousands of dollars coming off our check for this merchandise that is apparently not right in their system.
Okay.
It was at one time. It started being an issue back in July, maybe somewhere around there.
But does that PO not have a dollar number on it? Okay, and the price on the PO is correct?
Yes.
Wow. Call your RM. Call your replenishment manager. They can be of humongous help to you guys. But I guess I'm confused on why, if the PO is correct, are you submitting those into the dispute portal?
We was submitting the public lettings into the super portal and was not getting any payback on them, so I had to call and contact DSS, who told me to contact the store itself, which wound up contacting the store manager itself, which wound up calling the market manager.
Are you a DSD?
Sorry.
DSD supplier, a direct to store? Yeah.
So we got a little bit of a resolve, and it got way out of hand where it was not just a section into one part of the territory that we covered. It started becoming where a lot of our stores that we covered.
Mm-hmm.
That was when we reached out to our buyer, and nothing.
Yeah, call your RM. Like I said, they can be a huge help to you guys. And are you attaching the PO to the claim? You're putting the PO, the notification claim, the invoice. Okay, and they still aren't paying 11s? Okay, yep, that's what I would do. But I just don't understand why it's not happening that way. Okay, any other question? Nope. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time, and enjoy the rest of the day.